think the classes have come out yet. Can be turning to 714 for the invitation song. Tonight I'm going to be talking about heaven. If you want to turn to Revelation 21:4, that's the verse that I'm using for the talk tonight. Revelation 21:4. And it says, "And God will wipe away every tear from their eyes. There shall be no more death, nor sorrow, nor crying. There shall be no more pain, for the former things have passed away." So, a wonderful passage, and I want to kind of break it down and talk about it tonight to give us a little more appreciation for it. Uh, by the way, a lot of these things are mentioned in the song that I led tonight. "We shall see the King someday." Uh, I led all four verses of those, and it talks about a lot of things in this verse. um, so God will wipe away every tear from their eyes. So why are the tears there? Well, some say that it may be tears from being in the judgment and seeing friends or loved ones uh, be condemned to go to hell. That might cause the tears, or it may just be what's left over from this earthly life, the pain and sorrow of this earthly life. Um, it could be figurative, might not be literal tears, but just all the worry and all the sorrow and everything that comes with this life on this earth. But regardless of what it is or what caused it, when we get to heaven, God will make it all better for us. That's the wonderful news there. God is going to take care of it, and I don't know that we will forget our time on this earth, but it won't matter anymore. It is going to be so great and so grand in heaven that we may not even think about it much, about what life was like upon this earth. Um, so we're told here that in heaven there be no pain. Well, what causes us pain in this earthly life? And I think this is physical pain that we're talking about here. We'll talk about mental or spiritual pain in a minute when we talk about sorrows. Um, Pain is a blessing. You might not think that pain is a blessing, but it is. God gave us pain as a warning system. And let me give you a couple examples. If your hand uh, touches something hot, or you touch the eye on the stove or something like that, man, you jerk that hand back real fast because you experience some pain. And so that pain is a warning system to, hey, protect your hand. And if we didn't have that, who knows what would happen to our bodies? Because we would put ourselves in situations that we wouldn't deliver ourselves out of that. And who knows what would happen? So pain is certainly a blessing. And you think about someone who might have a pain in their side. And it goes on for a few days and begins to get pretty intense. Well, they go to the doctor and find out, well, got to have the appendix taken out. That could be a real serious thing if that had not happened. And so, pain is certainly a blessing that God has given us as a warning system for our bodies and to protect our bodies. But we don't like pain because it hurts, and that's just the bottom line. We don't like it, and we try to get out of it and get away from it as much as we can. We take pain relievers, and so we don't like pain in our lives. Well, what causes pain? Well, injuries, sickness, surgeries, uh, growing older causes all pain. And you think about it, I mean, there's people in the congregation that have experienced these things. Sally's got an injury. Rob's been real sick lately. Um, Bobby had surgery, and you can ask him. I think he has some pain with that. And all of us are getting older, aren't we? And yeah, we are. And in my 60s, I have more aches and pains than I did when I was in my 50s. And I had more then than I had in my 30s or 40s. And so it just seems that as we grow older, we get more aches and pains. And but the wonderful thing is that when we get to heaven, that's not going to continue. That's so wonderful that we can go to a place like that will not be any pain. Well, what about sorrow? It says that there will be no sorrow in heaven. And, sorrow, I think we could describe as mental or spiritual pain that we experience while we're here upon this earth. It's something that our soul experiences, certainly our soul. And so, what are some of the causes of sorrow? Well, disappointments in loved ones. Maybe they're not living right. Maybe they're causing problems for other members of the family or for society in general. Who knows? But those disappointments certainly can cause us some sorrow. And we sing songs about that there will be no more disappointments in heaven. We sing songs about that. Separations is another thing that causes us sorrow. We don't like parting ways with people that we love. And whether that's temporarily here on the earth, maybe they move to another country, or a child going off to college, or moving to a new city or a new state. Uh, those separations hurt. They hurt, and especially if it's a permanent separation, a death. And we've all experienced that. It's tough. It's a lot of sorrow. Well, other things that cause sorrow is sickness, and not only your own sickness, but sickness of family members or those that you love. Death, certainly, death causes lots of sorrow, and financial or property loss. When storms, hurricanes or tornadoes, and those things come along and destroy people's houses and their businesses and whatever it might be, those things cause sorrow. They certainly do. Okay, so I've covered no pain, no sorrow. The verse also says that there'll be no more death, and no more death in heaven. And so we will be resurrected, or we will be changed in a twinkling of an eye. That's what 1 Corinthians 15 tells us. And if you haven't read that chapter in a while, I would encourage you to read that this week. It is such a wonderful passage that tells us a little bit about what's going to happen when the last trumpet sounds, when we're going to be changed into our immortal bodies. It's a wonderful thing. So read that if you have a chance this week. But after the judgment, then there's heaven. and we will never again die. That's a wonderful thing, isn't it? After experiencing so much death in this life. 1 Corinthians 15:50, verse 54 says, "So when this corruptible has put on incorruption, and this mortal has put on immortality, then we shall be brought, then shall be brought to pass the saying which is written, death is swallowed up in victory." Swallowed up in victory. Isn't that wonderful? Jesus did it for us first when he arose from the dead. He defeated death. And because of that, we are all going to be raised as well. And we're going to be given an immortal, an incorruptible body. We don't know, it's going to be some kind of spiritual body. We don't know what kind it's going to be, but it'll be a spiritual body. It'll never see corruption again. It'll never die again. We'll be immortal. Oh, how wonderful it will be to have a spiritual body that is incorruptible and immortal. And so we're also told in this verse that there'll be no more crying. No more crying. You know, if there's no death, no sorrow, no pain, there's nothing to cry about, right? Because God is going to be there, and as we're looking upon his face, we're going to be happy, we're going to be glad. We're going to see all the loved ones, just like we sung in that song, the loved ones that have gone on before. We'll be there with them. And we will see the King in his glory. We will see God in his glory. It will be such a wonderful place. Don't you want to go? I do. The alternative is hell. There's going to be a lot of pain and suffering there. There's going to be a lot of sorrow. There's going to be a lot of thinking about opportunities that were lost. We don't want to be there. We do not want to be there. So the invitation is available for you tonight. If there's anything in your life you need to correct, do it now. Don't wait. Don't put it off. Correct it now. If we can pray for you, if we can do anything for you, come while we stand and sing.